Hello, I'm bored. I want to make something. Welcome to a Normie's Guide to Making Mead. Mead making is really simple. All you need is honey, water, and yeast, preferably brewer's yeast, something that can make a lot more alcohol than, let's say, beer yeast. All you have to do is mix them up and you have mead. That's simple. I also want to make it cheaply because I don't really want all the fancy equipment. I just want to see where I end up. I want to see how much mead I can make and how good I can make. What you need is a big jug of water, some honey, obviously, some brewer's yeast. It doesn't matter the brand, it's fine. Make sure that it makes wine. It's for wine making because it will end up with a much higher alcohol content. Some volumeter thingy to measure how much alcohol you have. Some tubing to get the mead out and into other bottles. And that's pretty much it. Now, before you do anything, you have to sterilize your equipment because you don't want your yeast to die. Then you are going to go to the stovetop and in batches, because you don't have a big enough pot, I'm just projecting, make sure that you heat up the honey in order to make it more manageable, because the honey I have is a bit solid and you want to mix it. Don't heat it up too much, otherwise it will kill the yeast. Once you heat it up, you put it in the jug of water. Make sure to drain some of the water, but don't throw it because it's drinking water and it is very helpful in this case. Don't use tap water because it might kill the yeast. And then top off with some remaining water. Now the airlock is a bit tricky because I am cheap. I just heated the cap from the jug of water and punched a hole through it so I can fit my airlock. All you have to do now is mix everything together thoroughly and then add in the yeast. Again, mix thoroughly and put the airlock in. Now, make sure to put the jug of mead in a cool, dark place and leave it there until the bubbles have stopped rising. This would take anywhere from a week to a month. The mead is ready essentially when it stops bubbling. This is the mead like 2 hours after mixing everything together, and this is the mead one day after. The bubbles really start coming along, and this is the sign where the mead is really popping off and the yeast is eating all the sugars in order to make alcohol. My mead is done fermenting. I'm a bit extra and I want to do more. I want to make flavors. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. To take the mead out, we need a hose. The next thing we need is not really to take out the mead, but it's like a fun fact for me to find out, which is a volumeter, which is used to measure how much alcohol we made in this mead. And lastly, we need bottles to age the mead. Since I'm still cheap and I'm not in the bottling phase yet, and I just want to age the meat, I used some plastic bottles that I wanted to recycle and couldn't find a use for. Also, please ignore my cat, she is here to just observe. But she's so cute, look at her. Firstly, we want to remove the cap. And now we can put our hose into the big jug of mead. And we can start siphoning it. Because I don't have a mechanism for siphoning, I have to suck down the tube in order to get the mead out, but that's fine. What I'm doing here is filling a bottle of mead, of plain mead, just to see how the flavor developed and see if there is anything else that is needed, if it's strong enough, and just a classic tasting mead. I've poured it into the bottle and now I wanted to measure to see how much alcohol I got out of the mead. And surprisingly, it came close to 15%. I couldn't really read it properly because the volumeter thingy wouldn't stay upright, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere between 10 and 20, so I'm going to assume 15, which is pretty cool. And I can confirm after tasting it that it does feel like 15. It's the strength of a wine. I want to make some flavors. So, welcome to my flavoring board, which is just a cutting board filled with a lot of ingredients so I can make a lot of different meads. My first one is a summer mead made only with teas, mainly peppermint, chamomile and linden. Just Put them in a bottle, fill it with mead, and then let it age for around a month. The next one I'm going to do is a forest fruit mead, which is filled with a lot of berries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. Straight into the bottle, fill it with mead over the top, and let it sit for around a month as well. I'm really excited about this one. The next one is an idea I have watching how strong alcohols are made, and they're made with pretty dry tasting fruit. So I chose pears, and I wanted to do a pear mead. Pear also goes well with wine, so I'm hoping the sweetness from the honey really brings out the flavor in the pear. This is more of an experiment for me, I just want to see how it turns up. Again, put it in a bottle, pour the mead over the top, let it sit for a month. The next one is for the Harry Potter season, which is autumn. We're going to do an apple and cinnamon cider type mead. We're going to do an apple cider mead, which is made with 1 apple and a lot of cinnamon. Fun fact, this is also called a cider from what I understood on the internet, which is a mead made with apple or apple vinegar, whatever, apple cider vinegar, whatever that shit is. Again, put it in a bottle, let it sit for a month, and we'll see what flavors we get. Next one I found online. I think it's mead appropriate for the winter time. It is chocolate and cinnamon, which I found so deranged that I wanted to try it and see how it turns up in a month. So again, some chocolate, some cinnamon in a bottle, mead over the top, let it sit for a month, and we'll see what we have. Ooh, next one is a summer one as well, or maybe spring. So we have lemon, lime, and ginger. So basically lemonade mead. I'm really excited about this one to see how it turns up. I'll have to wait a month to see how it is, but I can tell you right now, this bottle smells really powerful. And the last batch of flavored mead that I want to try is orange, chocolate, some tea, and cinnamon. I don't know what it is about this one. It is not a recipe I found online. It's something that I wanted to do freestyle because these are some leftovers that I have. These are the bottles filled with all the flavors of mead imaginable. Already started taking up the colors of the ingredients, and I can't wait to open them in a month to see how the flavors developed. It's been a month, I bottled them. I couldn't be bothered to show that whole process, so I'm just gonna show this again. All of them turned out really good. Most of them turned out really bitter because of the rinds. I didn't remove them. Here, the tasting notes will have been on the screen by now. I encourage you to make this. It has been really fun. The waiting was not great. What I will do in the future is remove the rinds and make sure that all the fruits and components for the flavorings are incorporated when the mead is fermenting for a more homogeneous flavor. Because right now they're really forward. I can really taste the flavorings. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. See you. Bye.